I've been going deep thinking about the lessons from each zodiac sign based on the inspiration I got from typewriter_astrology on Instagram. I'm going to share with you all the lessons that they've learned and lessons that I've learned from each zodiac sign. The first sign we're going to talk about is Aries. The phrase that typewriter astrology wrote for Aries is how to truly value myself. Aries is about creating this personal foundation, this I am from where we come from. If we have a strong personal foundation, we know our self-worth. The Aries lessons are also where we can be brave, where we can have courage, where we can stand up for ourselves and integrate all that into our beings. For Taurus, the phrase that a typewriter astrology has is what it means to be dedicated to something. Taurus is a fixed energy, so it can stay solid on something. It can be in it for the long run, but it's also what it means to be slowing down the pace of life, where you can stop and sort of smell the roses like Ferdinand. Where can you put your feet into the ground and hold your ground? And it's something that you were willing to sacrifice for. Taurus lessons are also revolving around our self-worth and our five senses, the sensuality of life, how things smell, how things sound, all the beauty in our world. What typewriter astrology learned from Gemini is the importance of self-expression. To add to that is curiosity. What are we curious about? What are we willing to go down that rabbit hole and look into and find out more information and be a sleuth or be more like a reporter in our communication and quickness? How do we get information, express information, and more than just words? There's lots of ways to express information and communicate. What typewriter astrology has learned from Cancer is emotional awareness and reading body language. I want to add on to that, not only is it about reading body language, but it's listening to our intuition. Cancer is the most intuitive. It's the great mother, father energy, that nurturing energy that's inside of us. I made a whole video about intuition and how Cancer is really behind, the Cancer energy is behind intuition. It's that little voice that's inside of us. And when we read body language, that's what we're doing. I'm watching this person's body and I'm intuiting what they're feeling based on their body language. Other lessons that we can learn from Cancer is lessons from the past, integrating those other things that have happened to us in our history, in our family history, and also nostalgia. Another lesson from Cancer is self-care, deep self-care, letting that universal love be your guide and know that it loves you, it wants to care for you. Also, when we love ourselves, when we accept ourselves, we can express that out into the world and we can give to others, we can care deeply for others without needing anything back. The lesson from typewriter astrology for Leo is the beauty in always improving myself. It's interesting that typewriter astrology says that improving the self, because I feel like that's more of a Virgo energy, but the Leo energy is improving yourself in not taking yourself so seriously. Leo energy is fun-loving. It's more integrated into this leadership role, but in a way that's magnanimous, but also being childlike and warm to other people, and how to have fun in your life and integrate that fun energy. Next up is Virgo, and typewriter astrology says the lesson they've learned from Virgo is that high standards isn't a bad thing at all. Of course, Virgo energy, I just did a video on all the Virgo activities, and they all revolve around high standards, really. We have this part in our life that's Virgo ruled, that the standards are high, the criticism may be high. And that is okay if you apply that to your actions or your skills rather than who you are as a person. When we apply perfection to ourselves, it's obviously never going to work out. And another lesson that we can learn from our Virgo part of our life is where we need to focus our helpfulness to others, our sacrificial service to others, where we're giving of our time to help others improve and improve ourselves as well. Next up is Libra. The lesson learned from Libra is there is an art to keeping the peace. Libra is ruled by Venus, and the scales are the image for Libra and the balance. Those lessons is where do we find balance? Where do we have the ability to keep the peace in our life? There's also lessons of where we can be charismatic in Libra in a way that is very integrated with another. I think the lessons there is not to become like doormats where we can provide our true self to another and they can provide their true selves to us, and we balance there. When we don't provide our true selves, or when another person takes too much, there is an imbalance. It needs to be a place where we find depth and communication with another. There is an art to keeping the peace, but there is also an art to keeping our self feeling an inner peace. Scorpio. The lesson for Scorpio on typewriter_astrology is how to listen to my gut instincts and intuition. The water signs are all about intuition. This is another level of that Cancer intuition that Scorpio has. It's the BS monitor. Like, don't BS a BSer, right? This is our Scorpio area of life where our lessons are hard won. The instincts are very deep. How do we see the truth behind it all? It's looking beyond the surface into more of a hero's journey. Wherever you have Scorpio in your chart, the lessons you'll learn there are a little bit challenging usually, because they are lessons we need to learn through a path in the dark forest. There's a deep well that we need to go down into. It's dark and a troll is at the bottom. All the answers and all your secrets and all that information is down there, and you have to go down and fight the troll to get to the information and come back alive with it. You know, it's a hero's journey is Scorpio, really. For Sagittarius, typewriter astrology says the lesson they learned is humor is a great tool for hard times. It's interesting, again, for Sagittarius, that humor is the point that they're taking from this. When you can find humor in any circumstance, even the most challenging circumstances or hard times, I think you have a broader perspective. That's the Sagittarius broad perspective, exploration and philosophy and higher level psychological depth and higher level spirituality and wisdom. It's seeking and exploration. And when you have a lot of those experiences, you have a broader perspective. So you take things a little less seriously. The world is a great big place. The universe is even bigger. And when we understand the expansiveness of it, then I think we can find a little more humor and we don't take ourselves so seriously because we're a little less self-important there. For Capricorn, the lesson typewriter astrology learned is how to see it through despite the obstacles. I think this one is spot on, how to see it through despite the obstacles. Capricorn is perseverance, and if we persevere in that area of our life, then eventually there will come rewards. It's a longer game though. It's ruled by Saturn, so those lessons sometimes take a lot longer to fruit. We need to put the work in, the effort in to rise up to the next level, physically, emotionally, psychologically, even personally. Everybody can reach the top of the mountain if they put the work in and they put the dedication in. So this is the part of our life, the lessons we'll learn through our dedication and our perseverance in Capricorn. The lesson learned for Aquarius is the power in standing out. I think of the art form of pointillism or pointillism and also impressionist. When you're really close up to the painting, you just see a bunch of little dots or you see some smears. And it's not until you step way back from the picture where you see the reality of the whole story. The Aquarius in us can see beyond where other people are, and that can set us apart. When we get these answers, quick answers, that's coming from that Aquarius place. When we're open to this Aquarius learning and lessons, the universal genius feels us open and it sends the messages in through us, and there's where we're going to get the inspiration that changes the world. Standing out and standing apart, not to be individualistic or isolated, but to see the big picture. Last on the list here is Pisces. The Pisces lesson for typewriter astrology is tapping into my imagination. Pisces is the most imaginative, the universal love of everything. It's everything. Everything, everywhere, all at once. If you've seen that movie, holy moly, that's a Pisces movie. If I've ever seen one, it's amazing. It's the greatest, biggest energy and the smallest energy down to the atom. It's this merging with reality, but in order to get to reality, we might need to escape from reality. So that's the lessons we learned from Pisces are how to go beyond what we are, reach really deep into ourselves and our empathy and our compassion and our universal love and awe of the universe. So the lessons from Pisces are really the biggest, grandest love that we can imagine from the universe. Not only the genius of the universe, not only the intuitive love of the universe, but it's all the pieces putting together. And sometimes it's just too big to understand. And that's why this Pisces part of our life could be a little bit confusing or a little bit daydreamy or whatever, but that's how we go into a sort of meditative space, and that's where those messages can come when we are negating who we are as a personality or an ego. In order to get to that point, we have to have that Aries self set up so that we can come back to a stable place. So it all comes right back around. Anyway, that's why I love astrology. The universe is on your side, and I like you just the way you are. Thank you for joining me, and I'll talk to you next time.